Did you know that dating is a skill and that you can learn it? My name is Asha. I help women in their 30s and 40s who have struggled with dating and healthy relationships to date successfully in order to attract a loving and fulfilling, healthy relationship. I think that we assume that we all should just know how to date well. We go to school to learn math, science, geography. Our parents teach us to read and write our letters and write our words. We go to college, we go to university to get trained for our various professions. And yet, why is it that we assume that one of the most important decisions that we will make in our lives, which is choosing the partner that we're going to spend our lives with, why do we assume that we should not learn how to do that well? And when it comes to relationships, our teachers are our parents and caregivers. And I would like you to ask yourself this question: did you have good teachers for relationships? So just a question to make an observation, not to put any blame on anyone, but I just want you to take a moment to think about that. Did you have good teachers when it came to relationship? So how did your mom relate to your father? How did she relate to men in general? How did your father relate to your mom? How did your father treat your mom? And were those situations or scenario good teachers? For some of us, we can say a resounding, very clear yes, but for many of us, and dare I say most of us, the answer to that is no. So if the answer is no, then again, how do we expect to then move on as we get into our dating and relationships to do this part of our lives very well? And if you didn't learn well, then how and when would you learn? Did you know that even if you are in a grown woman's body of 30 or 40 or more, that you could potentially still be relationally and emotionally stunted? So you could potentially have a, university degree, have training, be a professional, and be really, really good and really advanced in your chosen career or in your business, but you could still potentially, on the emotional and relationship side, be really, really, really stunted. So what can happen is the patterns and tendencies that you have in your relationships, you could potentially continue to be repeating those for years and years and years and years to come. So you could end up being, 50, 60, 70, saying, oh my goodness, men have never changed, men are all the same, men this, men that, when in reality, it could be that you're the one who just has not changed. And one thing that I learned from my coach many years ago is that we attract to the level of where we're at. So our relationships and the people we attract is a reflection of us. So what does that then potentially look like? So the good news, I feel like I'm telling all doom and gloom. The good news is when you can acknowledge this and observe it and bring it to light, you now then have the power to change it. So like you've learned skills in so many other areas of your life, you can actually learn the skill of dating well. So what does this look like? There are so many amazing paths and ways that you can be intentional in upgrading your skills when it comes to the dating life and the dating world. And a lot of people, I hear it out there that it's hard. Oh my gosh, dating is hard. First of all, the way you approach dating and your mentality about it is going to be 95% of the battle. So you really, really have to get your mind in a positive headspace and that it can be done. And I really believe that it is never too late to find love if you actually want it. You just have to learn how. So again, what does that look like? So In my early days, what that looked like was first and foremost books. I was an avid reader and I was determined to learn to do this thing called dating and love better than what I was doing before. So I am a I am a reader and I started out with the books. And here, of course, you're on YouTube. YouTube is such a great place to learn about anything and everything. YouTube is like having a university, and there are so many topics that you can come to YouTube to learn, and dating well is one of them. So, of course, there are so many videos here in my channel that you can take advantage of. A couple people that have been my mentors in this space. They have no idea that they've been, but number one is April Mason. So encourage you to go follow her. She's on Instagram. She's got some older videos here on YouTube, but she, for me, is the godmother of teaching about feminine energy and femininity and dating well. So if you want to learn a little bit more about that, you can follow her. Another person that I love to follow and continue to regularly listen to and study is R.C. Blakes Jr. So you can look him up here on YouTube. And he is really like a father figure. And I truly believe that this sort of epidemic we have with women who struggle with dating and healthy relationships, a lot of it does come down to those complicated relationships with our fathers, whether a lot of times a father who was maybe not present or maybe present but emotionally unavailable. So there's so many things that we don't do well in dating as women that really have their roots in the relationships that we have with our fathers. So all that to say is R.C. Blakes is like, he's like a father figure. And if you're somebody who's a Christian woman, he does a lot of his teaching based in those principles. So, and whether you are a Christian or not, his teachings are really solid. I love his principle teaching. You can tell that he has a fatherly love for the women who follow them and consume his content. So I'd highly recommend that. And I do think that it is important to get information from that type of source that is a loving source, that is a positive source. I know there's a lot of people online, podcasts and channels that tend to be nasty and degrade women, and I don't necessarily think that that is a productive way to teach. So if you want the teaching that is principled and honest, still honest, he's still very honest, but it's honesty rooted and grounded in love, I highly recommend that you check out R.C. Blakes on YouTube as well. I truly believe that you can still find love at any age if it's something that you want, and if you learn the skills to do it well, that it's available, it's out there. I believe that there are great men out there. Yes, today, whenever you're going to be watching this, that there are still a lot of great men out there, but you've got to do your work to make sure that you do the upgrades and the changes within yourself, and that's going to reflect what you attract and who you attract on the outside. Of course, again, a coach like myself, whether you're looking for one-on-one coaching, whether you're looking for group coaching, that's available. If you're looking for kind of just that transformation specifically in the dating space, that's something that I can help you with. Going to therapy or counseling is a really great way to do this process. And I don't think there's one. I think all of these different modalities have a place in learning to date well and to develop that skill of dating well. So a therapist or a counselor can help you to just dig a little bit into your past and examine your upbringing and why you might be doing the things that you do in terms of your relationships, in terms of your parental relationships, and looking at that and examining that, and just looking at how and why you show up the way you do in the present day in your relationships. When it comes to therapy and counseling, I think it shouldn't be something used as a crutch. I think it should be something that you use to get yourself to a certain place and that you can continue to manage on your own. So when you do need somebody to talk to, or you're trying to explore your past, I think it's a great tool, but I don't think you should stay in a place where you're always looking at the things that went wrong in your childhood. I don't think that is productive. So you want to use it as a tool to go back, dig, explore, but then use it to propel you forward so that you can start and continue to make good choices. And just speaking of coaching, I'd like to shout out my coach, Donna, who really, we worked on life stuff. It wasn't just relationship stuff, but one thing that she would tell me when it came to relationships always was that the relationships that I was attracting were always a reflection of myself. So when I was in not so great situations, she would always say, hey, you're reflecting this and it's something in you. So it was always up to me. And then when I met my amazing partner, she also said, well, he's reflecting the growth that you've done, and he is reflecting who you are now. So I just am so thankful for us crossing paths, and that I can now share some of that information with you as well. So hopefully you found that helpful today. Please, 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 I beg of you, don't be that 40-year-old or 50-year-old or 60-year-old in a 40, 50, or 60-year-old body who is still stuck emotionally and relationally in your teens or in your 20s because you have not developed those skills and matured in those areas of your life. Dating well is a skill that you can learn. It's not too late to learn to do it well so that you can thrive at this dating game, which is not even honestly as difficult as sometimes it may seem. I hear people saying it's hard. It's hard. It's not hard. I'm sure when you first were learning math, it was hard. When you first were learning to read and learn your first words, it was hard, but you were able to do it. This is the same thing. There are a couple, key things that you really have to get well and develop, and you will be able to do it to the point where it can even be fun. I think dating should be fun, and when you learn to do it well, it will be. So hopefully that was helpful. Would love to hear from you in the comments. Feel free to subscribe, share this with somebody who may need a little hope when it comes to dating in your 30s and 40s, and look forward to seeing you in the next video.